Hey guys, Jimmo here, and today I'm super pumped to show you this custom Rick and Morty controller that I put together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's nice to take a little bit of a break from inside the booth spraying cars and, you know, tough color matching, and we just get to relax and have a little bit of fun here. So let me bring you up to speed on where we're at with this controller here. So I have actually painted this once already, and a design didn't quite come together the way I wanted it to, so we hit the reset button and we've sprayed it with some silver base, and now we're airbrushing some green on. So I've talked about the prep procedures with plastic in the past, and I'm going to have videos again in the description if you need to know how to get to this point. But basically we prepped the plastic, got it all ready, and put on some silver base coat. So this is a solvent based silver base coat, and it's important to differentiate because some of these steps are going to be incompatible with water or solvent. So more specifically when we apply the water transfer deckle, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So what I'm doing here is splashing on some green, and I'm putting more on the areas of where the directional pad is and the buttons, so it's going to be a little darker there. Then we're going to sort of fade it out and kind of blend it out. It's going to look more like a goldy green in certain areas and in certain lights, but obviously it's a transparent green, so we can play around with it a little bit here, and that coarse silver flake underneath is going to shine through that and give it a good sparkling effect. Now the other thing I'm going to do, which is not shown here, is apply some white to the handles, so our decals appear more lifelike. If they were just applied over the silver or green, then you wouldn't really see them. Now what I'm going to do here is I have some water transfer paper. It's called waterslide paper. I got this stuff off of Amazon. Again, links will be made available. What you need to do after it comes off the printer is apply a 1-part clear over top of it. So you'll put one light coat on and then one medium coat, and that's going to hold all of the deckle together when the paper slides out from under it. It's also going to prevent the ink from washing off in the water once we dip it in that bowl. So that ink is water soluble, so if it gets touched with water, it's going to smear. So this will protect it, and it's going to keep the deckle all in one piece so we can slide it onto the controller. So here we go. Here we've got the controller all ready to go, get things all in position, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut up the deckle into, we're going to try and keep it as tight as we can. We've also actually here, what we're doing here is applying a 1-part clear over top of this, because that paint on there, as I was talking about, is water based, the airbrushed green. So that is a water based product which could potentially wash off or smear when it gets exposed to water, which is going to happen here. So that solvent based clear coat is going to protect it. So that's why we put that clear on at that point. So now we've put our deckle in, and I screwed up this a few different times before I found the right way to do it. You don't want to let the deckle come off in the water. You want to take it out. You want to have it in there for about 20 to 30 seconds, depending on the temperature of the water. Once it starts to come away from the paper, then you can pull it out. So you don't want it to absolutely separate 100% in that bowl, or else it's going to be a nightmare to try and get it into position. So right here you can see it's starting to slide off, and we're going to just sort of slide the top into position and clamp it down with our finger, then slide the rest on. And excuse the camera work here, hopefully we can see what's going on. Now you do have a bit of a window for moving this around. I mean, you don't want to move it too far, or else you start to crease it and then get more air bubbles into it, and then you'll have to remove them all. So you know, you try and want to position it in your first shot if you can, and then we're gonna work the air bubbles out again with our finger here. Ideally, if you have some sort of a little squeegee that's, you know, would fit on something like that, you could use that as well, and it probably would work a little bit more effectively. But you know, we don't have those fancy kind of gizmos in these parts, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it like this, and once that dries, it smooths out. We're gonna do a few more graphics here. We're gonna add on our Rick and Morty on the left there with their big old gun, and you can see Rick's head. It's a little bit in the green area, and it's not going to be as prominent, but that's okay. Rick likes to hide in the shadows, and that's where he gets his dark humor from. So the last touch we're going to put is this pickle Rick, because no controller would be a true Rick and Morty controller without a pickle Rick on it. And there we go. So this has a coat of 1 part clear, and we're gonna jazz it up a little bit more. So that's the shine you would get if you just left it with a 1 part clear. And I've talked about 1 part versus 2 part clears quite a bit. This is a 2 part clear going on, and I've actually added a pearl into it, which will reflect some pretty cool stuff, which you'll see in a minute. So it's got this high gloss finish, just like you'd have on any professional coating, a car or what have you. And there you go. So the shine's going to be significantly better, I would say, with the 2 part versus a 1 part aerosol. So I like to just finish it off with that whenever you can. So here's what we've got once we put it all together. And this is outside in case you happen to find yourself playing your PS4 in the backyard. You never know. There's Pickle Rick looking fabulous. And then coming up, you're going to see how these pearls dance in certain lighting conditions. It wasn't very bright outside at that point, but if in the sun, this is what you're going to get. Even indoors, this is indoors under just a certain spotlight in the basement. You can see how the metal or the pearls are dancing around, giving off some bling and looking cool. So that's it. I'm going to leave it here, and thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Comments below. Later.